darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing Bloodbound by Patricia Briggs. This is the second book in the Mercy Thompson series. Book 1 is Mooncalled, which I've already read and reviewed, so that review will be in the description below if you want to check that one out first. And I listened to the audiobook for this, which is read by Lorelei King. So Mercy Thompson is a shapeshifter, specifically a walker, and she can turn into a coyote, which gives her some pretty awesome powers. And in this book, we get to find out more about what being a walker means. This one mostly focuses on vampires, as Mercy gets dragged into trying to track down a rogue vampire that is causing chaos in the Tri-City area of Washington where she lives. Mercy has grown up with werewolves, and her next door neighbor is the alpha of the local werewolf pack, so she kind of has this allegiance to the werewolves, but doesn't quite fully fit in. Like, she's not a full member of the pack. However, the alpha of the pack, Adam, has declared her as his mate so that none of the other werewolves can, like, go after her. So she kind of has this standing in the pack. So, like, officially, she's the alpha's mate, and that gives her privileges and rights and makes her high in the chain of command. But on the other hand, she doesn't see herself as a werewolf and doesn't view it that way, so it's really cool to see her relationship with the pack, now that it's kind of changed a bit, as she's getting closer to them. I loved that part of this book. So in this book, her friend Stefan is a vampire, and she gets a call in the middle of the night to help him track down another vampire. So visiting vampires need to pay the local vampires, like, a tribute to stay in the area, and this one has not followed procedure, and Stefan's supposed to go and get the money and see why this guy is not respecting them. Stefan knows something that is a bit weird, so he asks Mercy to come with him in her coyote form as a witness to, if something weird happens, will you go tell the rest of the vampires what happened? And something weird does happen. The vampire they are looking for turns out to also be a sorcerer, and he implants false memories into Stephen's mind, making him think that he killed this woman, and it's a pretty bloody, gruesome death. The sorcerer evil vampire has killed everybody in this hotel where he's staying. Stefan thinks he did one thing, and Mercy needs to testify that that's not actually what happened, that it was the sorcerer. We get to find out about sorcerers in this book. That's introduced, and what they are and what their powers are, and it's not good. There is lots of death and chaos and destruction, and even the normal humans are noticing that something is up and weird. And the vampires and the werewolves join together to try to stop him so that the whole supernatural community doesn't end up in hot water from the regular humans. Like, werewolves have just come out in the open and they cannot get any more flack. Werewolves need to be perfect, upstanding citizens. They can't have any random deaths happening right now. That's not going to help them. So the werewolves tell Mercy to stay out of this. They're going to be super protective of her. You're not actually a werewolf. You're not that strong. We can deal with this. However, the head of the vampires, Marsilia, knows that Mercy is a walker, and she knows some of the things that walkers can do. Like, in the past, walkers have been vampire hunters. And so she reluctantly encourages Mercy to go hunt this vampire for her. So we find out more about Mercy's powers, what Marsilia tells her, and also what Mercy figures out on her own. There is lots of action in this book, lots of fighting, but it's also more of a detective story as Mercy's trying to piece together what's happening, where he's hiding, what powers he has, what powers she has, how do we go about this tactfully so I don't end up dead, and not, have a ton of other people end up dead, which I love that intellectual side of this. But my favorite part of this book is the relationships. So getting to see Mercy interact with the people around her, specifically getting to find out more about the vampires in this. And we get to find out more about her friend Stefan, which we basically knew nothing about from book 1 about Stefan, except that he's a vampire and he likes Scooby-Doo. We get to find out exactly how much of a misfit he is, and he's really charming, and I love Stefan. And we also get to find out more about pack relations, and especially how Mercy, as Adam's mate, who's not really his mate, fits into this. We also see that Adam really wants her. So we have this courting going on between Mercy, who feels attracted to Adam, but also doesn't want to end up submitting to the alpha of the pack. So she's scared by the relationship. She also has Samuel, who is from her her old pack, I guess. The people who raised her. Like, Samuel comes from that past that she had, and they had a relationship before that didn't go well. And so she's struggling with, I like Samuel likes me, but I also like Adam. So definitely a little triangle going on in there. Both men are trying to fight their wolf natures and let Mercy have a say, which has wolves that would just claim their mate, and that would be the end of it. So fight against their own natures. And we also find out that Stefan has a thing for Mercy, which I mean was not totally out of the blue. I kind of suspected that from book 1, but he makes his intentions more known in this book. So that's an interesting twist. On the other hand, Stefan's dead. So on the whole, I enjoyed this book. I gave it 3 stars. I definitely plan on reading more of the series. It's just not one of my favorite series, and it's enjoyable enough to pass the time, but I'm not like I need to keep going. There's nothing in the series that's like, what happens to Mercy next? So just don't feel as interested or emotionally involved in the series as some other urban fantasies or fantasy stories. So that's why it's got 3 stars, but it's still solid and enjoyable. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a good book. It's just not one of my favorites. So there's my book review of Bloodbound by Patricia Briggs. Check it out. You could also you could read this book without reading book 1, in case you guys are wondering. Like, there's nothing major you'd be missing. You just wouldn't have as much character development. I liked book 1 though, so I'd recommend reading all of it if you're going to read it. Yeah. So, peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.